Dino Chicken Nuggies today. Very, very excited about doing this. I'm going to be using this here Sherpa because it looks like chicken nuggets to me. We're going to be cutting it from my projector. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Now listen, full disclosure, your girl's a little sick today. I'm getting over a cold. I'm trying not to claim it because, you know, when you claim these things, then it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. So I'm not claiming that energy, even though it's trying to claim me. I'm going to go ahead and get it pulled up on my computer. Now, for those wondering, we're doing the Patterns for Pirates freebie pattern that they released. I want to say it really, oh dang, my trackpad is dead. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Now listen, I also want to share that the Dino Chicken Nuggies, don't get me wrong, I love them. I just feel like they're too small. So instead, because I'm going to be cutting it off of my projector, instead of actually cutting it at its, like at what 100% would be for me, I'm going to go ahead and increase it. Now, I normally use a zoom of 50%. I'm going to be using a zoom of 65% today. Why? Because, y'all, it just feels better to me to do it that way. I have already made the Brontosaurus. I have made the T-Rex, and I have made the Stegosaurus. So I have not made the Triceratops. So today we're going to go ahead and make that Triceratops. These make fantastic gifts. And let me show you all what this is looking like in front of my, like on my, like, we aren't wanting to turn. Okay. That's odd. It's fine though. So here we go. So this is what it looks like on the projector file. I don't know why my tripod isn't letting me turn things, but so now just so that you guys can kind of see what I mean as far as changing, I'm going to remove the grid because I don't like to cut with grids. So we're going to be doing this Triceratops. Now, normally, let me show you what, this is normally what it would be cut at. You see this size here? I have decided that this size is just not big enough for, I don't know, anything. So I'm going to be cutting it at 65%, and this is what it looks like. And I'm doing it simply because that's the size that I made mine during the testing phase. And I was just like, oh, I love how this looks. So I did make it bigger, or rather, we're going to be cutting it bigger, and we're going to be cutting this Triceratops because why not? I wish I could show you my T-Rex, my Stegosaurus, and my Brontosaurus, but y'all, those got gifted. My son had a little birthday party to go to last weekend, and she got the T-Rex because she likes dinosaurs. And I was like, oh, a girl who loves dinosaurs? Yes, girl, we stand. And then my girlfriend, she brought her daughter over. She got the Stegosaurus, and I didn't give the Brontosaurus away, but I have no idea where that Brontosaurus is. So, we're going to go ahead and cut this. My projector is turning on, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my software so that way we can go ahead and connect and cut. Okay. Connecting to the projector, and I already have my fabric picked out. So we're going to just go ahead on over and cut. Make sure my Triceratops is lined up in the middle of the page. And we're looking good up there. So let's get ready to cut. Now, I feel like no adult should be as excited about these Dino Chicken Nuggies as I am. But you know what makes me feel better about my excitement? Is because my girl, Tiffany, I mean, not Tiffany, Ashley Nell Tipton, yes, from Project Runway, she, at some point in time, she was also looking for a pattern for these Dino Chicken Nuggies. And she also was going gaga for them. So I'm like, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person who sees the power of the chicken nuggie. All right, so listen, if you get a cold at all this year, this season, or whatever, this ossicilium, don't ask me the correct pronunciation. That is the one thing that I feel like kicks all of the germs to the side, making it so you can heal faster. Because y'all, that is what I'm taking. And I promise you, yesterday I was like knocking on death's door. Today we are not. Now, I also do not sound like I feel the greatest, but it's okay. Okay, so let's see. Just trying to see where I want to line it up on my fabric. Because, you know, I like to cut so that I can have a ton of fabric left over, just in case, you know. All right. All right, that feels good. We're gonna move my fabric over more to one side. And I have a whole box of the filler, which honestly, I feel really good about. I do feel like it's a little excessive, but it's fine. All right, let's go ahead and cut. Now, also important to remember that there's lots of curves in this. So we're going to need to do some trimming of curves just to make sure that, there we go, that after we're done sewing our chicken nugget, that, you know, he lays flat. Okay, so we cut our Dino Chicken Nuggie. And because this thing is a lot of curves, and I did it with my rotary cutter, there's a chance that not all of them got cut, which is what I'm just trying to go through. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and sew this together. We're gonna head on over to my sewing machine. We're just gonna be using a basic sewing machine to go ahead and stitch this together. Turn off my projector. One of the things that I really tried to make sure to do is turn my projector off literally as soon as I'm done. Why? Because your hours of the bulb usage are really big with how long your projector is going to last. So I always want to make sure that I turn that off, because I'm not trying to replace my bulbs anytime soon. So let's get ready to sew. Again, I am just using my Bernina Bernina B590, which is the sewing machine. And I'm going to be using just your basic stitch, and I will be doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And so I'm going to be sewing around the perimeter. I am going to leave this area here open, so that way I can use that area to turn. The reason why I'm going to leave that area open, or I actually might decide to leave this back area open right here, so that when we turn it and we're hand stitching, because we're going to hand stitch it closed, I'm going to be doing a ladder stitch to close it up, it's just easier to do when you're not doing it on a curve. It's way easier to do when you are just doing it on, just like on as straight as possible. So with that, let's go ahead and get started sewing. Now, if you're someone who needs to use clips or pins, I highly advise going ahead and getting this set up in the best way that makes sense for you. I personally do not use them. I have no reason aside from the fact that I might be a little lazy, and that is it. So let's flip you all around so that we can sew together. Now, I'm telling you guys that okay, let me actually, sorry. Like, oh, it's this thing. Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I want to be able to, I feel like it's always asked for me to show as I'm sewing, so I just want to make sure that my tripod is set up correctly so that I can do that. There we go. I feel like that's good. Now again, oops, I'm going to just start on this back area because that's pretty flat. Now this Sherpa is pretty thick. Do not be intimidated by sewing it. Because the threads are not seen in this, I just have it on whatever project I was working on yesterday. I'm just gonna turn. Again, we're just following the perimeter. When I tell you that I love dinosaurs, I should have worn my dinosaur sweatshirt. And I'm just adjusting just to make sure that everything is lining up. One of these days, I'll make the normal size Dino Chicken Nuggie so that you guys can see the difference, the size difference in how I make mine. You know, your girl's just trying to make a Dino Chicken Nuggie that's worth hugging, you know? Okay, here we go. So now we're getting to the tail area. So now I'm gonna leave about this area. As soon as I make it on the same level, I'm gonna leave that area open. I am reinforcing this stitch before I cut it. And now it's time to turn our to turn him out. And this again is our little stegosaurus. No, not stegosaurus. We did a triceratops today. Now, if you want to make sure that your kind of corners are turned out as much as possible, if you have a knitting needle, that works. If you've got a chopstick, that works. If your nails are done like mine, that works as well. Just to make sure that you have the definition, you know. Here we go. So we're just going to push it out. And you do want to make sure that you push out, you know, of course, those seams as much as you can, because the more you push it out, the more definition you get. Good morning, Key. Good morning, Amani. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure. And so this is how he looks. Okay, so now I've just got to grab my my stuffing. So give me 1 second to grab that big box. Okay, so I got this big box of stuffing. Let me show you guys. So I got this huge box of stuffing, or polyfill. I got this from Amazon. I'll drop a link to it if you're like, girl, I need that in my life. Because it was not much. I think I paid like 20 bucks for all of this. So let's get to stuffing, y'all. Okay, put you all back in there. So I did leave enough space for me to comfortably be able to like stick my wrist in, because one, I like my plushies plush. Okay, look, we're trying to, you know, we're trying to give the kids something to snuggle. And so the way that I stuff all of my plushies is I do like the extremities first, right? And even this, I don't feel like it's going straight out to the tail. I will say that it is definitely a plus kind of having my nails done the way that they are, because it makes it that much easier to kind of fill that up. So we've got the tail. I'm going to do the feet now. And I think that this is such a great project, right? Because we see how fast it was for me to cut and sew. And if you're looking for a way to make extra income, right, this season, this is something that can be sold, right? And if you're like, Aaronica, how do you price them? For any crafts, I say, especially it depends on if you're selling them wholesale or retail, right? So if you're selling them retail, I say just make a random number up. No, I'm just joking. But always make sure that you're taking into account the cost of your materials, and you really need to base it on that, right? So like for me, I have to be honest, I don't remember how much this this fabric was, because I happen to have it on hand. I know who just randomly has Sherpa. I think I planned on doing something with it last year. But let's say if Sherpa is $10.99 a yard, and if you plan on making your stuffies bigger than, like, say the yardage requirements on the pattern, like let's say this is probably a 1/4 yard. So Then you have to also factor in the amount of stuffing that it costs, the polyfill it costs to fill it. You need to take into account, and you might want to give like a broad or just like a general pricing for how much it costs for your thread and needles, right? So if you're like, for each project, it's probably about maybe $2 or $5, between $2 to $5 of your own material, right? And then your time. So it took me, it's taken me like 20 minutes to make. So if my hourly rate for sewing, right, is about $50 an hour, then it might be $20 of my, maybe $20 of my time. And again, ballpark range. I probably wouldn't charge $50 per hour to make this, obvi. Because this one, in my opinion, requires a lower set of skills for me. And then if you're doing it wholesale, then that's typically your price. If you're doing it retail, then you multiply it by twice. So I would probably, I feel like I could comfortably sell one of these for about 20 bucks, you know? I feel like that's fine. You know what I mean? Trying to decide if there's enough stuffing in his, like, his little booty area. I feel like this is an excellent, I feel like his back needs some more. Listen, I'm trying to have my stuffies thick. Thick. Okay? Okay, I feel like this is enough. All right. I'm looking for, because we got a hand sew. We're going to do a ladder stitch to close it up. I'm choosing to do a ladder stitch over like a whip stitch or anything like that because I like the invisibility of the ladder stitch. So I'm going to just grab, oh, his foot didn't feel like it has enough in it. Hold on. Okay, maybe it's just because his feet are small. We're just going to put some more in just for good measure. Okay. Just enough, you know? We'll move it around once we close them up. So I do have a very random needle here. We're going to go ahead and use that. And then I'm going to grab this. This is a, it's a brown thread. So it's fine. We're going to go ahead and thread this needle. Listen, since I am now blind, the threading of the needle, y'all, threading the needle is always the hardest thing in my humble opinion. But somebody was like, oh, instead of, because, you know, everybody's going to go and lick the thread. But somebody was like, instead of licking the thread, if you lick the needle, like the needle itself or the needle hole, right, it's better because it attracts the thread better. So I have found success with that. So just made my, and so this is, I think, the first time recording myself. Maybe I've done it once before, doing like some hand stitching. Now listen, I don't love hand stitching, but we gonna make it pop. And it's fine. So to do this, let me see. Maybe I'll turn it around. And this might look a little weird, the way that we're gonna do it. Okay. So to start the hand stitching, I'm gonna start from the inside because I want the knot that I made to be tucked in here. So I'm gonna start it like back where I already did have stitching. And my little, okay, that wasn't it. I was like, dang, or was that it? I guess that was it. My little knot did not stay for nothing. Okay. So for our ladder stitch, we're going to, and I am being mindful of my seam allowance. And y'all, I love a ladder stitch. Like if I'm gonna have to close some shit up with a stitch, it's gonna always be a ladder. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend this ladder stitch. Like you don't have to always, you know, I'm gonna keep this tail out though, because I feel like I don't know what happened to my little knot stitch that I put up in there, but that knot was like, anyway, it was really like not here for you today. So okay, I'm slightly tightening it up as I go. Just ever so slightly. And I honestly, I didn't read the tutorial. Shocker. So I don't even know how Katie has us closing this up, because in testing, I was just like, cool, love these Dino Chicken Nuggies. Gonna make a bunch because, again, I'm nothing but a big kid. And I did not read the directions. And I'm just going to continue to, I just want to make sure that that stitch is as close to like my starter stitch as I can get it. And that is like my favorite thing. Look at the magic of that ladder stitch. Did y'all see? Did y'all see how that closed up? So beautifully. So beautifully. And invisible. And because I was able to kind of keep this tail out, I'm just going to go ahead and use this to finish, to tie it off. And then tuck my tails as well. I feel like this hand stitching always takes the longest, no matter what. That's why I do not love hand stitching, but I feel like everything behaves today for YouTube. So I'm like, we'll live to see another day hand stitching. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kind of like that. Just, that was supposed to go in a lot easier, but whatever. Let's go ahead and trim this down. Trim this as well. And we've got our Dino Chicken Nuggie. Boom. Let's squish them around some more. Good morning. Okay. And just like that, it took us 30 minutes to go ahead and complete our Dino Chicken Nuggie. He is done. Now we have the cutest little Triceratops out there in all the world to see. So thank you so much for those of you who were able to join me live as we made our Dino Chicken Nuggie for day 5 of Vlogmas. I will see you all tomorrow for day number 6. And thanks for tuning into my content. Make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and do all of the things. Until tomorrow.